Hey, fifth grade. Today we are working on a holiday movie drawing, and it would be great if you have oil pastels at home. Okay, they're fun and they're colorful and they're good to mix together. But if you don't have oil pastels, crayons are actually going to be the best option for this because those kind of can overlap and mix colors a little bit, which is kind of the goal of this drawing. But if you don't have oil pastels, it's a little tricky, but crayons will do the job, okay? If you need crayons or need some supplies, let me know. At school, we're going to be doing the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. You can kind of see it hanging on my board back there. So we'll talk our way through that. And we're going to be drawing it on kind of a tannish piece of paper. But if you don't have that, just do white paper. If it has lines on it, just draw on that. All right. I'm just happy if we're drawing and you can give me something to grade. Okay. So I'm going to get started. So if you need to grab oil pastels or crayons and a paper, please do so. Pencil is always a great tool to start to help as well. So let me switch my cameras here and talk to you about how to draw the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. All right, so I have my piece of paper right here. Ooh, let's see if I can make that a little bit more correct. Whoa, placing my camera perfect. Like I said, pencil's a great way to start, so I'm going to start with a pencil as well. Here we go. And actually, since we have this Christmas tree, it's this big arching letter J that goes upside down and hangs because its ornament is so heavy. So what I want you to do, kind of start in the middle bottom, and you're going to go up, and you're going to curve right back down, but not all the way. Okay, it kind of looks like a really tall, like, hill, or maybe a ghost body, or maybe tombstone. I don't know. I'm thinking about ghosts today for some reason. All right. And that's the tree trunk itself. All right. From here, let's put our ornament at the bottom or our decoration. You can do whatever you like. I think circle is the easiest shape though, because that's a pretty classic ornament shape. So I just do a circle hanging off the bottom here. And you can even, if you get fancy, put a little square at the top so it has something to put the string on. All right. But there are some branches to this little sad little tree. So I'm going to just go branch, and I'm going to put a few sticks for where we're going to add pine needles later. Okay. At the very, very bottom, there's a tree skirt. Usually it is Linus's blanket, if I'm not mistaken, our friend who drags his blue blanket around. So I'm just going to do kind of a lumpy oval at the bottom. Okay. I'm going to go kind of light because we're going to fill this in anyway. This is like a lumpy, hillish shape. All right. From here, we're going to switch over to crayons or oil pastels, whatever you have. And we're going to start with brown. We're going to get our tree body and our little sticks done first. So with brown, we're just going to outline what we just did. You can see it kind of looks a little fuzzy. If you want to go over that a couple times to make it a little darker, you can. Okay. And all we're going to do is the trunk and our little sticks here. All right. One thing I do want to point out though is usually a tree is a little bit bigger at the bottom. So I'm going to just go over it a little bit more to make it look a little bigger. Okay, you can see the top's really skinny, the bottom's a little bit bigger. Perfect. All right. From there, we're going to be adding our pine needles to our tree. We didn't draw any of them because we're going to be doing that with our crayons or oil pastels. And I want you to find as many colors of green as you can. I'm going to grab a light green, normal green. I'm going to grab this kind of like dusty olive green color. All right. And when you're drawing with these, just grab one to start. Does not really matter which one now. You're just going to do lines. I have a lot of people that try to do scribbles, but pine needles aren't attached to each other. So we'll just go line, 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 and put like 6, 7 lines on there. That's not a lot, but that's okay. We're going to add some more with the other greens in a bit. So we're going to go around and add our fuzzy, wuzzy little needles. Okay, they're not really fuzzy, they just kind of look fuzzy. All right, it's okay if you have some branches that are close, just add needles where you can. All right, now when you're done with one green, you can put that one away and move on to the next green. The reason we're doing more than one green is because we're adding value, the vocab word, value to our drawing, because we're adding light and dark versions of this color, and it looks a little bit more three-dimensional. It looks a little bit more realistic. My camera will focus. There we go. When you're adding your other colors of green, try not to draw directly on top of your other colors, but if you do, it's okay. They're kind of all sticking out everywhere anyway. All right. And I'm going to do my last green. If you only have 1 or 2 greens, that's fine. You could do a bluish green too if you wanted to, because blue mixes in to make green. So if you got some bluish greens, that would be fine. I want to mix a few colors and it makes it look a little bit more realistic and a little more interesting to look at. All right. So from here, we're going to be adding our light blue blankie. Okay, remember Linus is blankie, so I'm going to grab light blue, and we spent so much time adding value to our little pine needles, so I'm going to add value to our bottom part too. So we're also going to need a white to kind of mix in, and we're going to need a darker blue. Now white's going to be a little tricky if you have a crayon, but do your best. All right. From here, we're going to color in the entire lumpy thing this light blue color. Okay, so just take your time and get this filled in as solid as you can. Okay, try not to mix it into your tree if you're using oil pastels, because that will mix in. I can see I have some brownish streaks that mixed in, and I didn't necessarily want those, but that's okay because we're going to cover it up with some other colors in just a second here. Okay, that pretty solid blue. And what we're going to do, because this is supposed to be fabric is flowy, it kind of folds and moves as it goes around if you haven't folded it nicely. So we're going to add some darker blue kind of folds. It kind of almost looks like water here. I'm going to go in and out, and this is where I can kind of cover up some of those brown smudges I made. And you can even add a little bit of dark blue to one side to make it look kind of shadowy. And if you have oil pastel, this is a great time to use your finger or use a tissue if you don't want to get dirty blue fingers to kind of mix that in. And we're going to do the same idea with the white. So it catches some highlights. It looks like it has some light shining on it. Okay, so it's not a ton of color, but it's enough to add that kind of three-dimensional effect that we're going for. Okay, so that's our blankie. That's our blue tree skirt we got going on here. All right, put my blues away. And for your ornament, you can pick pretty much any color you want. If you did a different shape, you could do, again, any color you want, except for I would say no to light blue, because you already used it, and no to green, because you already used green. And you want something that has emphasis, something to catch your eye, all right? And that's probably because you'll choose a different color to add contrast. Yeah, all the vocab words today, we're rocking it, all right? Just to stay in the kind of colors that we have here, very different, I'm going to go with red. Now, we just spent all this time adding light and dark versions of blue, light and dark versions of green. So we're also going to need light and dark versions of red. So white works for any color because you mix it in and it makes it lighter. Pink is also a good color for red because it is white plus red equals pink, right? We already got, so we could use pink as well. I would shy away from black though, because if you add black, it makes things look really flat and not as realistic as you can. So for red, I would actually use a dark blue or a purple color, okay, to add kind of a shadow. If you wanted to do orange, I would say a yellow highlight would be good, or a red shadow, because red goes into orange. If you want to do yellow, you'd want to maybe do a brown shadow, which is kind of a goofy sound, but there's no really dark yellow. Yellow is kind of a weird color, so a little bit of a lighter brown would work pretty well there. And maybe if you want to do purple, you could use blue as a shadow and white to mix in, or red as a highlight or a shiny bit. So anyway, I just gave you a lot of options. Rewind and list all of them again if you need to. But I'm going to stick with red, and I'm going to color that main ornament that one color. Okay, so pick your main color and color it in. Okay. I'm doing a red emphasis. All right, whoa, that's a lumpy looking ornament. Let's clean that up a little bit. So from here, I like to add a highlight or a shiny bit and a shadow, like I was saying. So I'm going to use my white, maybe I'll use my pink too, and I'm just going to add a little curve, and it actually automatically turned pink because, like I said, white plus red equals pink. All right, so I'm going to mix it in a little bit. You can use your finger again to mix it in. Probably not a blue finger. If you need to switch fingers to mix it, you should do that. All right, otherwise you get blue in there. And on the opposite end, I'm going to mix in a little bit of that purple to kind of make it look like there's a shadow. Okay, again, it's not like a ton of color, but it's enough to make it look more three-dimensional, more round, a little more realistic. All right, so like I'm saying right now, if you don't have oil pastels, or you need crayons, or you need something from school, please let me know. We still are going to be in school until the end of December practically. So if you need anything, please let me know. So I'm really excited to see what your Charlie Brown Christmas trees look like. All right. Please put these into the Artsonia app that we use all the time. And please remember to use some vocabulary to talk about this. And we used the word value. I was ringing my bell a lot. So we had value, we had contrast, we had emphasis. These are all big words we talked about this year. So maybe use a few of those to talk about your project. All right. Again, any questions, please let me know. I can't wait to see what you've come up with. All right. Happy creating.